Welcome friends on my channel Daily News Editorial. On this channel we regularly cover editorial news sections of newspaper. Today's we are covering the Hindu newspaper editorial page dated 13th of July. Listening to the article gives you a chance to understand author's viewpoint firsthand. So if you like my video, please like, subscribe and share. So let's begin. Tracing the decline of US power. The US made a major mistake in abandoning realistic pragmatism and switching to liberal idealism. A, a new Cold War. Henry Kissinger and the Rise of China. It looks like a book. Let's see. A new In A New Cold War, Henry Kissinger and the Rise of China, edited by Sanjay Baru and Rahul Sharma. Academic and diplomat Kishore Mahbubani explains America's place in the world in his essay Evil Liberalism versus Moral Pragmatism. He asserts that by abandoning Kissinger's realistic pragmatism, pragmatism means practicality, कि आप pragmatic हो आप practical हो, the US has become severely weakened both domestically and externally. An excerpt एक्सर्ट मतलब होता है कि आप किसी बुक से आप कुछ आर्टिकल ले रहे हो ना, तो उसको आप अगर आप एज इट इज लेते हो, एज इट इज जैसे लिखा हुआ सेम लेते हो, तो उसको आप एक्सर्ट बोलते हो. The year 2021 marks the 50th anniversary of Henry Kissinger's famous visit to China in July 1971. It also marks more or less the 30th anniversary of the end of the Cold War, with some risk of being accused of oversimplification. One can say in the 20 years after Kissinger's visit to China, US foreign policy was guided by the philosophy of realist pragmatism. By contrast, in the 30 years after the end of Cold War, it was guided by the philosophy of liberal idealism. The results are clear. Realistic pragmatism delivered the greatest victory of American foreign policy, a victory over the mighty Soviet Union without the US firing a shot at Soviet armed forces. By contrast, the past 30 years have generated a lot of evil. Collateral damage. कोलेट्रल डैमेज का मतलब होता है कि कोलेट्रल का मतलब होता है बहुत बहुत बड़ा, एक बड़े सेंस में सब कुछ तबाह हो गया. कोलेट्रल डैमेज. Between 2004 and 2019, the US Armed Force dropped 1,75,842 bombs on several countries, according to the US Air Force Central Command. Bombs dropped from the air are often not accurate. Hence, many innocent people were killed. The Brown University Watson's Institute's Cost of War project estimates the total casualties from all post 9/11 wars at 7,70,000 to 8,01,000 casualties. The results are clear. When ethical do-gooders take over the US foreign policy, evil is generated. $5.1 trillion wasted, almost 8 lakh lives lost. Yet, the biggest damage done by the abandonment आता है वर्ड abandon से. इसका मतलब होता है कि छोड़ दिया आपने उसको abandon कर दिया, मतलब आपने उसको छोड़ दिया. Yet, the biggest damage done by the abandonment of Kissinger realistic pragmatism is that the US has become severely weakened both domestically and externally. Internally, the 30-year period of liberal idealist dominance of the US foreign policy has coincided with a 30-year period of stagnation of working class incomes. स्टैग्नेशन मतलब होता है, इसका स्टैग्नेशन वर्ड का मतलब होता है स्टैग्नेट हो गया, मतलब स्थिर हो गया, मूव नहीं कर रहा है, बढ़ नहीं रहा है, अब जहाँ हो वहीं हो। Externally, the US literally fell asleep at the wheel while China rose dramatically. In 1980, in purchasing power parity terms, China's gross national product was 10% of that of the US. By 2014, it had become bigger. Now, there is no doubt that the biggest foreign policy challenge the US face in the next 3 decades is China. So, how should the US manage China? The main argument of this essay is that the US needs to engage in deep reflection on what went drastically wrong. The US made a major mistake in abandoning realist pragmatism and switching to liberal idealism. A return to Kissingerian realist pragmatism would be the best way to manage a rising China. Kissinger's celebrated secret visit to Beijing in July 1971 is widely and justifiably regarded as a major move that swung the correction of forces in America's favor and led to the ultimate victory over the Soviet Union. What was remarkable about the widespread applause that this visit received, including from the New York Times and the Washington Post, is that so few Americans mentioned that the US was embracing a regime in China led by Mao Zedong, which had only recently created havoc in the country, leading to enormous human pain and suffering through the disastrous policies of the Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution. In short, human rights were a secondary consideration when realist pragmatism re- when realistic pragmatism rigged rigged. I need to understand how to pronounce this word, rigged. Indeed, at the International Conference on Campu Kampuchea of July 13 to 17, 1981, the US delegation, led by Alexander Haig, actually supported China against the Asian countries when China said that the Khmer Rouge should be allowed to return to power in Phnom Penh after the Vietnamese withdrawal. I was personally present and shocked when this happened. Yet the same Reagan administration, in a more liberal move, supported the removal of the dictator Marcos from the Philippines. In short, even in the realistic pragmatic era, there were several elements. Kissinger wasn't the only major figure advocating realistic pragmatism. Other major thinkers of that era did so, including George Kennan and Zbigniew Brzezinski. While Kennan is often associated with the harsh policy of containment of the Soviet Union, John Mearsheimer reminds us that Kennan was a shrewd and sophisticated thinker. Firstly, he emphasized that the outcome of the Cold War would not be determined by the size of their respective armed forces. Instead, it would depend on the spiritual vitality of their domestic societies. This is what he had said. It is rather a question of the degree to which US can create among the people of the world generally the impression of a country which knows what it wants, which is coping successfully with the problems of its natural life, of its internal life, and with the responsibilities of world power, and which has a spiritual vitality capable of holding its own among the major ideological current of the time. He has called for greater humility in our national outlook. According to Meir Simmer, his call for humility was in response to a strong claim made by then Secretary of State Madeleine Albright in February 1998, when she had said, "If we have to use force, it is because we are America. We are the indispensable nation. We stand tall and we see further than other countries into the future, and we see the danger here to all of us." Kenan lived to the ripe old age of 101 and died in 2005. Hence, he lived through the last 15 years of the post Cold War era. Significantly, he also disapproved of the many key moves when the US switched from realistic pragmatism to liberal idealism. He disapproved the expansion of NATO into the former Soviet bloc. Kennan also disapproved of the invasion of Iraq. Delusions of superiority. Dick Cheney confidently asserted that US troops would be welcome in Iraq. He said, "I really do believe that we will be greeted as liberators." Meir Schumer observes that in contrast to such beliefs that the US was morally superior, Kennan did not believe that the US was more virtuous in any meaningful way. Indeed, Kennan observed that Americans were suffering from delusion of superiority. Kennan strongly argued that US taking a paternalistic responsibility to anyone, be it even in the form of military occupation. Many of the points raised here will be disputed, yet there is no doubt that the policies of restraint and pragmatism advocated by the people like Kissinger and Kennan in Cold War era contrast significantly with the liberal idealism of the post-Cold War era, as demonstrated by the statement of Democrats like Albright and Republicans like George W. Bush. These contrasting approaches also explain American success of the Cold War era and the failures of the post Cold War era. Exported with permission from HarperCollins. Thanks.